Listen, this world owes nothing. Not your pain, not your backstory, not the 1,000 tiny cuts that made you flinch before you ever raised your fists. No one's coming. Let that settle in your bones. Let it sting. Because the truth is brutal. The universe doesn't stop spinning just because you're on your knees. It doesn't pause for grief. It doesn't flinch when you scream into your pillow. And that silence you feel, that void, it's not cruelty. It's clarity. You are alone in the building of yourself. But that's not a curse. That's power, disguised as pain. Most won't get this. Most are trapped in a lie. A sweet, numbing, gutless lie. They call it stuck. They say, I can't. They whisper, it's just the way I am. Bullshit. You're not stuck. You're scared. There's a difference. And deep down, you know it. Fear has worn 1,000 masks in your life. Perfectionism, procrastination, toxic comfort, all just costumes. All just clever names for the same cowardice. You weren't born weak. You were born untested. And somewhere along the way, you stopped walking toward the fire. You started building walls around your wounds. Call it trauma. Call it conditioning. Call it whatever the hell you want. But understand this. The longer you bow to it, the more it owns you. Your mind? It's a battlefield. A knife that turns in your hands if you don't learn how to wield it. Every day, it either cages you or it carves you into something sharper. And you choose. You choose with every excuse you make, every truth you dodge, every dream you abandon in favor of temporary numbness. The lie. The one that wraps around your ribs like a noose. It whispers, you're just not ready. You'll change when you're stronger. You'll move when it feels right. Lies. Every last one. Read this slowly. There is no ready. There is no perfect moment. There is only the choice to act in spite of the quake in your bones, to move while your legs shake, to stand while your heart screams for shelter. You become by burning. You grow by bleeding. You don't evolve through ease. You break first, and in the breaking, you find the edge of who you are. So no, you're not stuck. You're hiding. You're curling in the corner of your potential, pretending the lock on the cage is still there. Kick the damn door open. Rip off the mask. Stop running from the thing you were born to face. Because the world won't slow down for you to catch your breath. And neither will your soul. There's a war beneath your skin. You feel it, don't you? That tight pull in your chest when no one's watching. The hollow ache behind your smile. The weight behind your silence. It's not the world breaking you. It's the war you keep dodging. Not outside, within. You've spent years burying things alive, pushing memories into corners, locking guilt in the basement, suffocating rage with fake forgiveness. But here's the truth, stripped to the bone. You can't kill what you refuse to confront. You can't heal what you keep hiding in the dark. Every demon you silence, every wound you dismiss, they don't vanish, they fester, they turn. They wait. And when you're tired, when you're vulnerable, when you think you've escaped, they claw back to the surface, wearing your own voice. That voice that tells you, you're not enough. You'll never change. You're broken. It's not prophecy. It's residue. From all the truths you ran from, it's time to turn around. Time to look that bastard in the eye. The grief you buried. The rage you swallowed, the shame you drank like poison. Drag it all into the light, name it, bleed with it, then rise. You think courage is loud? No, courage is quiet. Courage is standing still in front of your pain and saying, you don't scare me anymore. The bravest thing you'll ever do is tell yourself the truth. Not the polished version. Not the story that gets sympathy. The raw, gasping, ugly truth you've been dodging for years. 'Cause that's where it begins. That's where the old self dies, and something stronger is born. You keep waiting for a sign. This is it. You keep praying for strength. This is how it's made. Not in books, not in comfort, not in meditation or mantras. Strength is made in the mirror, when you don't look away. So let the war come. Let it roar. Let it tear down every lie you built to survive. Because beneath the wreckage, you're still there. And you've always been enough. Not because it feels true, but because you've got the guts to prove it. This isn't about being fearless. It's about being unwilling to stay broken. So fight. Not for the world, not for anyone else's praise. For you. For the version of you that's been clawing from the inside, begging to be freed. Comfort is a liar, a sweet-talking, soul-killing sedative. It whispers soft things to you while stealing your edge. It feeds you warmth while slowly freezing your will. You think you're resting, you're rotting. The life you want? The power, the peace, the purpose? It doesn't live where it's easy. It lives in the wild, in the stretch, in the friction. Growth begins where comfort dies. That's not a slogan, that's law. You want change? Good. Then be ready to lose things. Be ready to shed skin that no longer fits. Be ready to look in the mirror and not recognize who you see. Because that's how evolution begins. With confusion, with disorientation, with discomfort so deep it makes your bones question who they belong to. But this pain, this raw, soul-splitting ache when you break old patterns, that's birth. That's you coming alive. The problem is most people don't want rebirth. They want upgrade. They want the glow without the grind. They want the reward without the war. But the truth? No one becomes more without bleeding for it. Discipline, that's not punishment. That's love, the highest form of self-respect. It's the quiet, brutal decision to show up, even when no one claps, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Because showing up when it's easy, that's vanity. But showing up when everything inside screams, quit, that's transformation. Listen carefully. You are not tired. You are untested. You are not broken. You are buried beneath years of comfort and conditioning. And the shovel? It's made of your habits, your choices, the ones no one sees. So stop blaming life. Stop praying for peace while feeding chaos with your own hands. Look around. Look inward. Your routines are your religion. What you repeat becomes what you revere. So ask yourself, what God are you really serving? The God of ease or the God of war? Because becoming isn't gentle. It's not supposed to be. It's a collision between who you are and who you're meant to be. And the price of entry is your comfort. Burn it. Burn the safety net. Burn the plan B. Burn the script that says, play it safe. You weren't made to coast. You weren't built for neutral. You were made for fire. And the world doesn't need another person hiding behind "I'm fine." It needs someone who's done playing small. So, kill the comfort. Mourn it if you have to. Then bury it. And build the weapon you were always meant to be. Enough. Look in the mirror. Not the one hanging on your wall. The one buried behind your excuses, your habits, your almosts. The one that shows you what you've been avoiding. See it yet? That's not your face. That's your pattern. That's who you've chosen to be. Day after day. Choice after choice. And here's the part that slices deep. You built this, not your parents, not your past, not your pain. You. You are the architect of your own prison, or the blacksmith of your own sword. Either way, it's your hands on the tools. So what's it going to be? Because you can chant affirmations till your lungs give out. You can read every book on growth. You can post all the pretty quotes on discipline and healing. But none of it matters without action. None of it means a damn thing if you won't move. Affirmation without execution is just noise. Want it? Prove it. Want change? Bleed for it. Want strength? Earn it. In silence, in sweat, in sacrifice. This world doesn't reward desire. It rewards proof. And the proof is you in the dark, choosing yourself when it's the last thing you feel like doing. You're not waiting on motivation. That's the first lie you kill. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire. And discipline is love. Raw, ruthless, and rooted in the belief that you're worth the fight. Because let's be honest, if you really loved yourself, you wouldn't keep betraying yourself. You wouldn't keep choosing the hit of dopamine over the legacy you're here to build. You wouldn't keep making gods out of your distractions while praying for purpose with your mouth full of excuses. You want clarity? You want confidence? Good. Here's the secret. Clarity doesn't come before action. It comes from action. You carve it out with every rep, every early morning, every time you say no to the thing that numbs and yes to the thing that builds. And that voice in your head that says, you'll never be enough. Listen close. It's a liar, but it will win unless you prove it wrong. So sharpen the mirror. Make it your blade. Look straight into the eyes of the thing that's been holding you back. And realize it was never something out there. It's always been you. And that's the best news you'll ever hear. Because it means the enemy is close. And the weapon is already in your hands. Here it is. The line you've been dancing around. The edge of the cliff. Fear. Not the Hollywood kind. Not the screaming, running, monsters in the dark kind. No, the real kind. The one that waits. Sits quiet in your gut. Whispers just before you act. Chokes your breath right when you're about to leap. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of being seen, of being known, of being more, and not knowing what to do with it. You think it's there to protect you? It's not. It's there to test you, to separate the ones who dream from the ones who do. See, most people run from fear. That's the default setting. It's the reason half the world dies with their potential still clinging to their bones. But the ones who rise, the rare few who become fire, they run into it, not because they don't feel fear, but because they do. And walk anyway, because they've learned the secret. Fear is the doorway, not the wall. On the other side of it, power, clarity, a version of you that doesn't flinch anymore. You keep waiting for fear to go away before you move, you'll be waiting forever. Fear doesn't leave. You outgrow it. You crush it with action. You starve it with momentum. You steal its oxygen every time you stop letting it dictate who you're allowed to become. Read this slow. Comfort didn't build anyone worth remembering. Pain did. Fear did. The fire did. And if you want to rise, if you want to earn your place at the table with the warriors and builders and survivors of this world, you go through the fire. Not around it, not above it, through. Burn in it. Scream if you have to. But don't you dare turn back. Because everything you want, everything you are, is waiting on the other side of that pain. You don't transform by watching others climb. You transform by scarring your own hands on the mountain. So here's the moment. Right now. No music, no crowd, no drama. Just you and the fire. And a choice. Step in or stay small. Now we end where it truly begins, where the ashes settle, where the fire has stripped away the mask, the doubt, the weak gods you once worshipped. Now, it's just you. Not the version they made you. Not the version you tolerated. The one you forged. The one who crawled through every lie, every failure, and kept going. Listen close. You don't find yourself. That's a myth sold to the lost. You build yourself in war, in silence, in the moments no one sees, but you feel down to your bones. And the tools aren't gentle. They're jagged. Pain, discipline, radical self-honesty, not the sugar-coated kind, the kind that tastes like blood and truth and freedom. You're not who you were. You never will be again. Because once you've faced your own chaos, once you've dragged your demons into the light and stood unshaken, you don't go back. You can't go back. That soft skin, gone. That craving to be understood, burned out. Now, you don't need applause, you don't need permission. You've become your own damn validation. And that is rare. That is dangerous. That is power. So own it. Own the scars. Own the rage that became fuel. Own the silence that taught you resilience. Own the days you didn't quit. Own the nights the world forgot you. But you remembered yourself. This isn't motivation. This is truth. This is a mirror and a sword. And you are both. You're the storm they didn't see coming. The quiet fire that outlasted the noise. The force built in darkness, hardened in solitude, and now, ready to rise. So walk. Not with swagger, not with noise. With presence, with weight. Like someone who buried their weakness and walked out with fire in their chest. Because that's what you are now. Not a survivor, a weapon. Not broken, reborn. So go, break the cycle, shatter the script, bend the world until it fits who you've chosen to become. And when they ask, what happened to you? Look them dead in the eyes and say, I became the storm. And I never looked back.